You're now listening to the Festival of Football, presented by Billy Harvey and Henry Barrett. So yeah, but anyway, we're moving to the final part of the podcast for today. This is where you're going to shine, Bill. You're going to let your knowledge shine out. It's called layman's terms. You've explained what it is. You explained that we're talking about the Euro Conference Cup, whatever it's going to be called. I don't know. So yeah, I'm interested to find out a bit more about it. So take the floor, mate. Layman's terms.
Yeah, so the first edition of Layman's Terms, we'll talk about the Europa Conference League. And what it is what it sounds like. So basically, it's the lowest version of the UEFA competitions for clubs. So it sits behind the Europa League. It's got a very similar format. It's basically UEFA's vision to get the smaller nations involved in more competitive games. So teams from the San Marinos, the Liechtenstein, where else? Like smaller European leagues like Bulgaria, Romania,
Malta,
yeah, all of those teams, all of those leagues, all of those teams. Israel,
Lithuania.
yeah, Albania. Israel's in the Euro. So, who knows? But yeah, it's to get those. It's to bring up their level of sport. Because what we're finding with UEFA is obviously those teams will never get into the Champions League group stage. Let's be honest. Maybe a Bulgarian team, like we mentioned last week, Ludogorets, they'll get in there every now and again. But they're probably more suited to the Europa League, as we've seen. And then it's about building up the levels below them. So it's the teams that we never would have heard of before, unless you're a diehard football fan and you know everything about the Bulgarian, Romanian, Maltese league. Then you might have some teams in there that you know.
Yeah.
And essentially, it's a knockout competition. You've got 8 groups of 4, like the Europa League does, going into the knockout phase. And basically, it's if you win this competition, you get a guaranteed Europa League spot next season in the group stage. So it's to give teams hope that they can improve their level of football in their country, which is, it goes with that UEFA, the Nations League, what they do with the groups, the A, B, C, D groups, is to bring up the level of competitiveness. Because let's be honest, what's the point of someone like the Maltese champions playing Real Madrid? They're going to get thumped 12-0, 8-0. What's the point? And there's no learning there. But if they play perhaps, a team that finished 7th in Romania, there's a little bit more competitiveness there.
Cool.
The problem is that the bigger leagues are also getting spaces. So England, Spain, Italy, France, they all get a space. It's normally, so for England, it's the 7th place team or the team that wins the League Cup if they don't qualify for another continental competition. So you could be looking at Tottenham in there. You could be looking at West Ham in there. You could be looking
with the League Cup. Didn't they used to get into the Europa League? Now if you win the League Cup, you're basically being demoted from the Europa League to the Conference. Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, fair play to UEFA though, because that's pretty decent of them to do this competition for all these lesser nations, if you want to put it that way. But yeah, I mean, obviously they're probably making money out of it, some sponsorships and everything else, of course. But yeah, I mean, I've only heard about this competition through Football Manager. Mm-hmm. When you play the game, just if you didn't know, guys, we're big Football Manager fans. We could do a whole podcast about that at one point as well. But when you're playing it and then like you get into it, what I've noticed is there's only 4 or 5 like really big teams, and as you said, from France, Italy, Spain, England, probably Holland, maybe. But yeah, they've got easier teams, and it's going to be good for them lesser teams to get money and to get more known, because there's people like yourself that follow foreign teams and stuff, like certain foreign teams. So you'd be watching it and you think, like this year with the team that knocked out Tottenham, remind me of them again, Zagreb?
Dynamo Zagreb.
Yeah. People are going to watch that and say, they play good football, actually. I like the way they play. And then you'll keep an eye on them. Or if you're a football fan, you'll keep an eye on their scores and stuff. And it is a good thing for them to come into this competition. And as you said, if they manage to win it, get the Europa League spot that they wouldn't have got through their league. So, yeah, it's good, man. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, my only issue with it is that I don't think the bigger league should be involved in it. because I think they should have left it as a competition for those smaller nations to develop. But the reason why the bigger nations are involved in it, because it's got TV rights. It's on a Thursday night as well, like the Europa League. I think the games might be earlier or on at the same sort of time as the Europa League games. And I think they've looked at it and gone, okay, we need some bigger teams in there because, you know, the TV companies are not going to buy it.
They need the branding, though, Bill. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine if Man United finished 7th one year and they get into this competition instead?
It could happen. I mean? It could happen. You know, anything can happen. And I think it's great then for that competition if it's going to be taken seriously. My only issue is that if you're going to be in that competition, I think you've got to take it seriously. What I don't want to happen is, do you remember with the Europa League all those years ago when it was the UEFA Cup and Tottenham got into it? And we had Harry Redknapp as manager at the time, and we played Shakhtar. And basically, we were the 2 biggest teams left in the competition, and pretty much whoever won that game was going to win the competition. And Harry Redknapp put the kids out, and we lost. And then Shakhtar went on to win it. I hope teams take it seriously because it is a European Cup. Okay, it might only be seen as like the new day version of the Intertoto Cup, but again, it's a trophy.
Exactly, and that's where it comes down to ambition of the clubs that are involved. Because at the end of the day, for me, West Ham have got a chance to get into Europe even more, and it's a competition that if West Ham got into that, I'd expect them to win it. If they got into the Europa League, I expect a good run. They got into the Champions League, I'm just enjoying the games and the occasion. If they get into this like conference Euro Cup, I'm expecting them to win it because that's. But I think it's below our level. Yeah, I think West Ham are in the top 8 of the Premier League of clubs and team wise, and I think we should be aiming at least for that competition every year, in my opinion.
Yeah, and again, it opens up European football to teams that may not have necessarily had it because, okay, Man City take the Carabao Cup really seriously. They've won it, 4 out of the last 5 years or something crazy like that. But
as you should, though.
As you should, yeah, it's a cup competition. But if Pep does leave and then, you know, maybe the bigger clubs don't take it seriously, because there was a time, wasn't there, when teams don't take the Carabao Cup seriously. Liverpool don't, for one. Man United never used to.
I remember when Wigan won the FA Cup and got relegated and we're playing in Europe next year. So
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, anything can happen, right? I mean, an EFL team could win the League Cup and then get into Europe. Well, I don't know if they can. I'm not sure on the technicalities, but if that's the stipulation, then that's the stipulation.
I mean, if you win that cup, then surely you have to get it, because then it won't go to 7th in the league. In fact, I'm going to. There's something I do know because of Football Manager. Unless Football Manager have got it wrong, Norwich won the League Cup in my game, and they got the conference position, and 7th in the league didn't get it, and Norwich were in the Championship. So I mean, as long as Football Manager quite on it, because they had the England leaving EU, Brexit before it actually physically happened in real life. So Football Manager are quite on it.
Yeah, they're quite on it, and to be fair, I think it will happen like that. It's the same as the FA Cup. If you win the FA Cup and you finish 12th, you'll get the Europa League spot.
Yeah.
So I think this competition could be really good for those smaller nations, and hopefully it's a success, because I think what UEFA are doing to bring up the level of football in Europe is admirable. I think it's one of the better things that they've done, and I think to bring up the smaller nations to a level where they're competitive. Like if you look at Luxembourg as a team, I mean, years ago they used to get smashed left, right, and centre. They beat Republic of Ireland a few months ago.
Yeah.
So you can see how the Nation League is helping them. And
mate, you only have to look at Gibraltar as well.
Yeah.
Gibraltar started winning games now.
That's it. Yeah. So, and I think the quality of football in Europe is going to be the best. It is the best in the world anyway. But if the smaller nations start to improve, then maybe other world organisations should look at competitions like this if they don't already have them.
Yeah. But this is what I'm saying. And you look at it, with the ESL, they're trying to stop things like this. Like, of course, UEFA are doing it because they're greedy, want money themselves and whatever. Don't get me wrong. But it's still giving, it's dangling that piece of carrot for these lesser teams to have a dream. What football's all about. having a dream. Like West Ham, for example, this year getting Champions League football.
Yeah.
Like, can we dare to dream that we could get Champions League football and play Real Madrid at Real Madrid on a Wednesday night? You know, like, can I even dream about it? That's what football is. And if you take that dream away, it's ridiculous. And if you're giving, as you said, a team in Luxembourg a dream that they could get to a conference semi-final of the Euro League or whatever it's going to be called, and play, I don't know, play an Everton, or because you think about the money that's going to be involved in that game as well. Because like, I don't know how it works. You know, if you do the FA Cup and you have a non-league play Everton at Everton, Everton normally give the gate money. I don't know if that would work in this scenario, but you guys got to think of things like that. Like, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Not reinvesting, but it's making the future of the game brighter, and it's, you know, reassuring things, making sure that, you know, if we make these lower teams better, you know, eventually, if this ESL happens, there might be more bigger clubs to take their places if they want to leave.
Yeah, and I think it's like you said, like there's going to be a lot of TV money behind it. I think BT Sport have got the deal because they have the deal with UEFA for the Champions League and the Europa League. And if they're giving, I don't know what the profit share or the share of the TV money is, but I'm sure there'll be an equal split between the teams, hopefully anyway. And then there's probably like bonuses for winning games, drawing games, and that sort of thing, and then like getting to certain stages of the competition, etc. And even if it's only a couple of £1 million, like we say a couple of £1 million, like it's not a lot of money, but you say that if you say that to like a Maltese team and they get like 500,000, that could keep them running for the next 4 years, 5 years.
Exactly, mate. That'll keep them going for years, and they can invest in their team and get better.
That's it, and it's all about improvement. And you look at, you know, we'll look back in 10 years' time if this competition is still going, and we'll look at the quality of football in Europe, and we might see more upsets. We might see, you know, the Liechtenstein champions getting to the Champions League group stage, or we might see Ludogorets or Dynamo Zagreb progressing through to, you know, the Champions League knockout phases. You never know.
My only problem is, mate, and the only thing I'm worried about, it's going to be what happens in the Champions League. So, like, whoever finishes third in their group in the Champions League goes down to the Europa League. What I don't want is if you're in Europa League and you finish third in Europa League, you go down to this conference.
You do, yeah. You do, yeah.
You do. Oh,
yeah.
See, well, that's what I mean. No, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Because what's the point?
Because if that actually is the case, the people that are coming out of these, so okay, theoretically, you can have Man United drop out the Champions League to the Europa League, and you could have Tottenham have a really bad season in the Europa League and fall into this other league. So it basically it's basically saying to these big teams, you didn't qualify for Champions League, here's Europa League. But don't worry, because if you have a bad season in Europa League, there's this second one that you've now got another chance. I don't like that part. I really don't like that part.
I'm not a fan of it either, but I get it. It's that security blanket, isn't it? And I think, but then teams dropping out of the Europa League are going to be better quality. So if you do get like a Northern Irish team or an Irish team or Bulgarian team, they could play a better team. And then again, it's that competition, isn't it? Anything can happen in a knockout football, so you never know.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Really.
Yeah, next season will be very interesting. I'm going to definitely keep a close eye on it because I think whoever wins that competition, it's going to be like, you know, the first one ever. It's going to be quite an honour to win it, I think, to be the first ever club to win a new European competition.
You're kind of making me want West Ham to be in it now, but no, we have to finish in the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, if you finish 7th and you win it, I mean, you can always say you were the first team to win it. So
I want to tell you something, right? Last night I had a dream, mate. I'm going to sound like Martin Luther King here. Last night I had a dream, okay? And it weren't the Champions League, it was the Europa League. And West Ham was in the semi-finals, and there was one game away from the final, so it must have been the second leg. And there was, I can't remember who we were playing. It was like a randomish team, but they were a big club.
Wasn't Asta Gugu again, was it?
Asta fucking Gugu! No, but honestly, mate, maybe it's the time. But yeah, well, this podcast's been great, Bill. You enjoyed this one?
Yeah, really good. I like the new section at the end. I think we'll try and get it in every couple of pods if we can find something new and exciting to explain or talk about.
I guess it depends on the topics that we have. I mean, we can try and get it in if everyone likes it, we can try and get it in every podcast. Obviously, it depends on what we've got to talk about. But yeah, I mean, we'll be back again probably Monday, Tuesday time, and recap the weekend's games and see who got the most right out of our 3 predictions.
Yeah,
Maybe
no, I'm looking forward to it.
future pod we could do a full rundown of the games and do our predictions and see who gets the most points. Might be interesting.
Yeah, we could do that. That sounds good.